Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm making this live stream because there is a problem that I want to shine a light on. And it starts, I think, by way of example of the statistics that are in the description of this live stream. And I'll just simply cut to the chase. As far back as one can go, recorded hate crime lists in the state of California, hate crimes against African Americans have outpaced all other groups many times by a factor many times over. For example, for 2019, the number of hate crimes done to blacks was four times in the state of California than that with respect to Asians. And yet, if you take a look at a publication, a San Francisco publication very recently said that there were 700 hate crimes done to Asians in 1 month. Now, how can that be? And from my research, the problem is that every crime done to a person who's Asian has started to be called a hate crime. And then more insidiously, media shows like Nightline on ABC have made the open accusation by Image that black folks are preying on Asians. So this is going out of hand. And fortunately, there are groups who have teamed up in Oakland and Alameda County, represented by both black folks, Asian folks, white folks, great combination of people, to just stop violence against Asians. But if you look at the news and you do just a content analysis, you'd have the impression that statistics against Asians are much higher officially than any other group. But let's turn that around. Let me show you something that I think will jog your brain a little bit. And it has to do with a map, this one. And it shows from a period of, this is Oakland, for those of you who don't know Oakland, but it shows from a period of May 5th of this year to May 11th, over last 7 days, the number of crimes in Oakland. There are 514 records, okay? And the report, you can see the robbery crimes are dollars, and you can actually zoom in and get a better idea of what's what, right, in this, okay? But if you want to take a look at the report like that, you can do so. And it gives you description, incident, location, all right? Assault, weapon, assault, firearm, larceny, burglary, motor vehicle theft, okay? Autos. This is Oakland police data over the last 7 days. And again, 514 records. What they don't tell you is who was the victim by race. So you wouldn't know if the majority of these victims were black because they don't tell you. But the point that I'm making is that if they are, then if you use the lens that has been recently adopted to look at crimes against Asians as hate crimes, you would have to say that there are an alarming number of hate crimes against blacks too. And I'm going to say something else. It doesn't matter if it's another black person. If the majority of crimes against blacks are black on black, that is an internal hate crime, blacks against blacks. It needs to be made a national issue. It hasn't been some time, and appropriately addressed with the same kind of groups that were formed to protect Asians that would protect blacks against other black people. You heard what I said, okay? Groups that protect blacks against other black people, if it is the case that the majority of crimes against people in Oakland are against those who are black and are done by others who are black, if that's the case. And if it's the case that the majority of crimes are done to blacks in general, call those hate crimes. If it's an assault done to a black person, call it a hate crime. In other words, use the same lens that's being applied to crimes that are done to Asians to blacks. Because right now, this looks to me like some sort of public relations game that has ugly consequences. The police haven't asked the people who've done these crimes were they paid to do them. You heard what I said. As part of some effort to sow division among us as people and keep us divided so that the Donald Trump types might walk right back into our electorate. I am very much concerned of the ability of crisis PR managers or actors, crisis PR acting production organizations to manipulate what we think about each other in our society. There are many instances of this having been done. And lest you doubt what I am talking about, I want to turn your attention for a moment to something that a website that I have discussed before called Crowds on Demand. And Crowds on Demand at crowdsondemand.com here, which you will see in a second, where you can hire demonstrators for PR events. Crowds on Demand is not the only organization of its type around. There are other similar ones that do more violent work. But here is Crowds on Demand for you to hire demonstrators right here. Your home for protests, rallies, advocacy, audiences, PR stunts, and political events. Services available nationwide. Crowd, okay, that's what it says, and it's in black and white. All right. You can contact them and request a quote. Hire demonstrators. All right. You can look for buzz, right? And they made campaigns involving hundreds of people come to action in just days. And they have a proven record of delivering major wins in even the toughest campaigns. All right. That's what they do. And again, there are other organizations. If I type Crowds on Demand here, and then I click on the news, right, I can discover we're going to have to actually lock this out better. So I'll just do it like this, Crowds on Demand, because I'm not getting proper readout. There we go, Crowds on Demand. Okay. Anonymous political group Keep Dallas Safe, managed by former AstroTurf operator. All right. Need professional protesters? These groups provide them. There's a whole list. Okay. This is by News Talk 870 AM. All right. Some of these groups do violence. There's Crowds on Demand, then there's Demand Protest. And this reads, there's another site we found that appeared to be much more eyebrow raising. It's called Demand Protest. This site doesn't list an address or a home base, but some of their offerings will catch your eye, offering demonstrations, movements, intelligence, and training. Recruitment. The site says their top priority is preventing any associations back to you, meaning the client. Deniability. The site says by taking every precaution, keeping clients secret, and hiring only the best individuals, they can ensure all their actions will appear to be genuine to the media and other public observers. The site says when you need the appearance of an outrage, they're able to deliver it at what they call scale. And they say they keep your reputation intact. The website has a place to request information. You can become an operative there. There's a phone number you can call as well. But the rest of the site is devoid of details. The testimonials from some of their clients refer to them as unknown executive for an insert generic business or group here, unnamed company. It has a very clandestine feel to it, News Talk writes. Demand protest is worth the trip there to examine the site for yourself and make your own decisions. A screenshot of the Facebook ad is seen below. And it says, when your strategy demands paid protest, we organize and bring it to life. Let's check it out. Demand protest. Here is the site, demandprotest.com. All right. And there you are. Okay. We assemble movements. That's what it reads. We assemble movements. From grassroots organizations to advocacy groups, we see the narratives and gather the audience you desire. When your strategy demands paid protests, we organize and bring it to life. All right. Then you want to know their services, they're here. Okay. Recruitment. Our top priority is preventing any associations back to you. Our operatives only know us, and we have a proven track record of maintaining secrecy. Directed action. We demand action of our operatives on the ground and provide them in-person support. Create the scenes that will sway public opinion and perception without any guesswork. Deniability. By tackling every precaution, keeping our clients secret, and only hiring the best individuals, we can assure that all actions will appear genuine to media and public observers. All right. And partners' stories. And they said they saw some enormous changes as a result of their first two campaigns. It was astonishing to watch operatives go above and beyond, sometimes to their own detriment, to drive our story with the public. That's I'm not making this up, folks. This is right in your face, okay? This is the campaign chair of unnamed 2016 presidential campaign. Guess who that would apply to? All right. That's got to be Donald Trump. You want to tell me it's not? Campaign chair, unnamed 2016 presidential campaign. Who else would do that? All right. Here's another. Not only were we able to counter feel-good misconceptions held by millennials, we were able to drive a measurable decline in key metrics and introduce a powerful new story. That's the executive director of an unnamed public health nonprofit. Okay. All right. Here's another. Chairman, unnamed fund management. Young Americans were lacking enthusiasm when it came to our goals. Demand protest was able to formulate a strategy and street campaign that quickly ignited fierce feelings and action. All right. They've managed 17 causes, 15 partners, 48 campaigns, and they have 1,817 operatives. Connect with them. All right. Could it be that some of those operatives are sitting in jail right now because of the Capitol protest? All right. Could it be that some of those operatives are responsible for some of the hate crime attacks in Oakland, to South Division? Could it be that one of those operatives was the person that established the hangman noose around Lake Merritt in order to give the impression that there was, this hysteria around hate crimes and it was all overblown because it was some black person that had a fitness set? Remember that? And then Laura Anthony of ABC bought hook, line, and sinker. And she's my friend saying this, but I said it again. Bought it hook, line, and sinker that Victor Akube lived in Oakland when he didn't. He lived in San Francisco and was from Washington, D.C. And prior to that, he was born in Sierra Leone. All right. But she just bought hook. She assumed that. And then ABC wrote in the text of the account that because he is black, there is no hate crime. And that's the problem, folks. So in other words, a black person can do something that is really a hate crime to other blacks. But because of that, someone says, well, it's not a hate crime. We have to change that narrative. We have to change that narrative. And we have to begin to stabilize and equalize how we think about hate crimes in the United States. If you're going to say that a hate crime is done to a person that's Asian and then call it just that because it's an assault, then if the assault happens to someone black, you have to call that a hate crime too. Because otherwise, these numbers are wildly out of whack, and they're beginning to do exactly what's happening in some cases. South Division. This is not by accident, folks. This is being driven in some kind of way. And the police are not instructed to look at it as I'm explaining. And yet that's what we've got to do. We have to stop this charade, because that's precisely what's happening here. We have to stop this charade and get to a point where we have a new look at statistics with respect to race. And we have to have an alignment so that they are all applied the same way. In other words, what I'm saying is that the very gathering and reporting of statistics regarding hate crimes in and of itself is racist. So you have racism on top of racism on top of racism. A bad thing. Got to stop. All right. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com. And that ends this broadcast.